All right, let's hear from business now on the new cabinet. I'm joined by Khulekani Mathe, Business Unity South Africa CEO. Khulekani, I appreciate your time this afternoon. Now, how significant is the resolution of uncertainty around the establishment of the GNU for investor confidence in South Africa? I mean, we've seen the rand go up and down in the last few weeks just based on one or two announcements.
It is very significant because it resolves, as you say, the uncertainty. In itself, the time taken to appoint the cabinet is not inordinately long by comparison. There are countries that have taken much longer to appoint the cabinet after, getting into coalition governments and all of that. But of course, being a developing economy with a history of developing economies not being particularly great around management of elections and so on, there was always going to be concern about will South Africa be able to pull through this. And I think we have proven that we are a maturing democracy. A governing party loses outright majority and still manages to do so gracefully or graciously and enter into government with other parties opposing it. So all of that, I think, is important for confidence in the economy.
So I suppose one of the things that's important for us to touch on is the expectations of you as business from this new government or this new cabinet of national unity. Outline for us what your expectations are.
Our expectations are that we should now get down to business, that this cabinet should get down to business. We accept and understand that there will still be some sort of preliminary processes that need to be undertaken, planning, agreeing a common program, etc. But the important thing is that we now have a cabinet, we have people entrusted with the authority to run different state departments, and they must get down to business. What does getting down to business mean? It means that we need to implement measures to grow the economy. Our economy has been stagnant for a very long time. Unemployment is the highest it has been. And so we need to get down to business, get the economy to grow, get businesses to grow, get businesses to employ more people. But we also expect that the government will invest in building the capacity of government, because there are certain functions where the capabilities in government can retard economic growth, because you have processes of approving applications of one form or another taking forever, and thus delaying investment, etc. So getting down to business does entail all of those aspects that are necessary to get this country on the right trajectory.
Let's talk about specifics. I mean, what specifically should the new cabinet do to create or prioritize an environment that attracts investment? Because it is what we need to grow the economy. Obviously, we need jobs. Young people are unemployed across the country.
So already there is a program of reforms that have been led by an entity called Operation Vulindlela, or a project called Operation Vulindlela, located in the presidency. It is that initiative that has led to some of the reforms we've seen in the energy sector, resulting in the creation of the National Transmission Company, which means that the energy sector will change forever. You will no longer have a monopoly in the energy space. There will be greater participation of the private sector in generation and various aspects in the value chain. Similarly, there are reforms that are beginning to take place in the transport and logistics space. Incidentally, both of these are very important to the economy. We know the destruction that was caused by that period when we would have load shedding for long periods of time led to many businesses closing down. Similarly, lots of revenues lost by those businesses that require a functioning logistics system, given the challenges that we face. So there is a set of reforms that were started by the sixth administration, which need to be continued and concluded because they are important foundations for making sure that you can unleash the potential of this economy and lead to creation of growth and development.
Now, we've got the largest cabinet that we've ever had. How can the government ensure efficient use of resources and avoid excessive public spending because of this large executive?
I think the fact that we have a big executive is really unfortunate, and I think an opportunity was missed in really trimming our executive. It was large before this government of national unity. It has become larger. Now, we accept the president bona fides when he says that this was done with, the intention of making sure that all of the parties in the GNU play some role in the government. Going forward, we are going to have to trim down our cabinet. It is one of the largest in the world, even for economies that are much larger than us.
Now, how do you assess the impact of retaining Ino Godongwana as finance minister and his deputies on South African fiscal policy and economic stability?
It's very important. Minister Godongwana has been leading National Treasury and has, become a minister that the markets understand, and so he has put in place, which he announced during the budget earlier in the year, measures that he intends to implement to bring public finances under control. And so that is absolutely important. If he had been removed and replaced with someone else, there would be concerns about whether, firstly, all of those initiatives and all of those plans would be continued. So continuity in this particular portfolio is very, very important.
In fact, somewhere else where there is a continuity is in the electricity ministry, and Khosientsha Ramaphosa has also been given the energy portfolio. How important is this in addressing the energy crisis, and how crucial, again, is this for economic recovery?
So Dr. Khosientsha Ramaphosa, in his previous role as Minister of Electricity, he didn't really have a department. He was just a minister, relied on the capacity in what is called NECOM, in the presidency, as well as working directly with ESCOM to really push through and implement projects to make sure that we arrest the energy situation. So I think that energy is absolutely necessary. He now obviously assumes a portfolio that will have resources. He will have a department, he will have people to work with that he can deploy to address the challenges in different areas. And what we particularly liked about Dr. Khosientsha Ramaphosa was his openness to work with the private sector. After his appointment, in the previous administration, he immediately reached out to business and said he wants to work with us. It is important for a country that is starved of resources, of capacity, of skills, to really reach out and make sure that we work together to address problems. So we think that if he brings that mentality, he will really be very successful in his new role.
I think it's good to hear that ministers are reaching out to business. But let's talk about who you are immediately reaching out to, because I'd imagine as business, you have your various interests at heart, and you can't always wait for ministers to come out to you, particularly for those that might be new in particular portfolios.
So there is a perception that there are only certain portfolios that affect business. The fact of the matter is that just about every portfolio, there is a private sector on the other side of that portfolio. So we are interested in the functioning of all portfolios in the cabinet. Just immediately, well, not immediately, but before elections, we had been working in partnership with government in the energy, transport and logistics, and crime and corruption, a partnership that in some ways contributed to the improvements we are seeing in energy. also the stabilization that we are seeing in the rail freight sector. And so we would hope that that partnership continues. We have no reason to doubt that that partnership will continue because the president gave us his commitment to this partnership. And we would urge the new ministers to really work with us. We are committed to working with them so that we can jointly address the challenges that we face. So in a sense, I'm saying that the immediate ministries that we'll be looking to reach out to are those who hold portfolios that are relevant to the partnership that I have just described. But of course, as I've said, we will also be looking at all other ministries over the period of time.
Khulekani Mathe, Business Unity South Africa CEO, appreciate your time. Looking forward to various ministries engaging with the business in South Africa. Now, Johannesburg City